There was a rumor about him. They found insulin in a dead guy's saline bag.
Right off the bat, one of the things that I think the film does quite well is it's a story that I think is fairly well known, and so I liked that the movie doesn't withhold the creepiness of your character and the dynamic that's there at play. But I was wondering, as actors, how do you kind of take into account the overarching arc of your character as you're creating them, or do you sort of focus on each individual moment as it's happening?
That's a good question.
I think about the whole arc of it before I get on set. So that's part of the prep for me.
Right.
It's like, okay, where are moments that she can perhaps start to learn something new or change in some way. And then I forget it when I go to set.
Right.
So because who knows how the other person is going to perform things. And maybe we're doing a scene where I realize, that's out of the ordinary, and if I don't acknowledge it, then I'm not in the scene with the other person.
Right.
So yeah, for me, once I get on set, I kind of just let it all go, and I just focus on what the moment is in front of me.
It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? You do all this preparation in a vacuum in order to kind of throw it away in the moment.
Right. But I guess that's how we are as people, right?
Completely.
Like, we know ourselves, and then we get into these situations, and we're just reacting to things as they happen. One of the things I think that is quite compelling about Charlie in particular is that there's a sweetness there, right? There's an endearingness to him. And I was wondering, obviously these are real people that you're playing, but is the fact that they're real make it more meaty to dig into versus when it's a completely created fictional character?
I don't know. What I love about playing real people is you have a place to start. You have the kind of title for your essay. Do you know what I mean? You know where you have the certain technical things that you have, and you know where to go and start doing your research, your prep. Or when you're playing non-real people, you have to kind of create that yourself.
Right.
Our great resource on this was the real Amy Locker, the character that Jess plays, and it was almost the most insight was from her about his kindness, about his gentleness, about particularly his humor, like his self-deprecating humor. He would the way that he would endear people to him was through vulnerability. He'd be like, my life's a mess, and always talking about how his home life is complete chaos. So I'm like, oh God, he would come in and of course, in some ways, probably that was, whether it was a conscious device or a subconscious device, it was a way of getting close to people.
But also staying hidden in a way, right? Because
Exactly.
you're using that vulnerability to keep people out.
Completely.
There aren't questions.
You're absolutely right. He used it as he got great strength from anonymity.
Right.
That was his thing.
Right.
Often on the wards he would disappear. He would be very quick at turnaround. So all nurses wanted him to be the person that took over for the night shift, because rather than it taking an hour of having to transfer your patient notes to this new nurse, he would do it in 15 minutes, and then he would be off and down on the wards, like doing things. So he was sort of exceptional in some ways as well. So that hence he managed to get deep into it.
Right. You've played lots of real people before. I actually spoke to you for the Tammy Faye, as the Tammy Faye. And I was wondering, in this case with Amy, you've got her there on set. How do you balance sort of, because they are characters, even though they're based on real people, how do you balance seeing this person and their mannerisms and their sort of physicalities and maybe the way their voice goes up or down with the impulse maybe to do the other stuff, to create a character that's sort of your own in an organic being?
It's an interesting question because, like for example, when I did Molly's Game, I realized sometimes when someone is being observed, they're aware they're being observed,
right,
and they're showing you what they want you to see.
Right.
So you can't, like when I'm meeting with someone that I might play, I'm aware of how they want me to play them, because that's what they're showing me.
Right.
And then I also have to be like, okay, well, what are you not showing me? And, so it's a constant but it's a constant investigation of trying to look beneath, like trying to see, listen to the words and say, what is not being spoken, or ask the questions that might not be asked. And she actually really helped me in some sense, because and it surprised me. I asked about her being a night nurse, and she said she chose to be a night nurse so her children would think that they had a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, right.
And that was
Interesting.
really interesting. It's not in the script at all. It's but this idea of this woman who's constantly taking care of others and really is never taking care of herself.
Right.
And what that does to your physicality. And I learned that a lot from Amy.